Hello everyone, welcome to Res Snap, and my name's MJ. I'm not Drewberry. Yes, Drewberry has stepped away from making Marvel Snap videos. I asked if I could carry on the torch of making the Snap or Pass content that we all love, and he was very gracious in saying that I could do with the concept what I please. So yeah, shout out to Drewberry. Thank you for all your service to the Marvel Snap community, and let's crack on with Snap or Pass Sasquatch. Sasquatch is a 6/10. Costs one less for each card you played last turn. So let's look at the actual spotlight caches for this week. We've got Havoc, Series 4 card, and we've got Ravonna Renslayer, also as a Series 4 card. This is not the super strongest week because of Havoc. However, Ravonna is very good. They're both Series 4, so in terms of actual cost here, they're only 3,000 tokens each. So in terms of actual value, not the most big, not the biggest, maybe say that word instead. You're trying to make a good impression with these new viewers. But Ravonna's really good. Havoc is interesting. Probably one of the weaker cards in the game. However, I actually quite like him, and I think this Spotlight variant is absolutely incredible. So along with Sasquatch, I don't actually think this week is too bad. Let's move on to the mechanics of Sasquatch. So she triggers off of cards that are played. So that means she triggers off of things like Mysterio and not things like Squirrel Girl or Baron Zemo. Now, it doesn't mean that Squirrel Girl isn't going to work well with Sasquatch, because we'll move on to some of the synergies and some actual deck lists I've got for you towards the end of this video. She is a 6-cost card, so that means she would be protected from things like Kyra, but when her cost is changing, it means that you can duck in under locations like the Big House, which I'll talk about in the pros in a minute. And just generally speaking, Sasquatch can fit into any deck. She's compatible with every single deck and works well with every single deck in the game, apart from things like C2, because every single deck plays cards, and her requirement is she gets cheaper if you played cards last turn. Every deck plays cards. Pretty much, apart from things like High Evo, which maybe are skipping turns and stuff, then she would be a 6/10. But basically what I'm trying to say is, worst case scenario, she's always going to be a 5/10. The current 5/10 that we've got in the game is Dr. Octopus, who has the side ability that it automatically pulls Shang-Chi from your opponent's hand. So it's sort of like a 5-cost 0 power in a way. So this is a 5/10 power card that doesn't pull Shang-Chi, so that's really good. The other pros, she gives bounce decks another way to get really tall. Currently bounce decks can use certainly Bishop to get somewhat tall, certainly Hit Monkey, and probably Mockingbird, but they don't have any other really big tall cards, so she's going to fit extremely nicely into bounce, and I think she's actually going to make bounce an extremely powerful archetype this metagame. She is the cheapest 10 power card in the game, sort of She-Hulk was, but you're basically, are you actually able to get She-Hulk out on turn 3? Don't think you are, because you're floating 2. You could float 2 energy on turn 2, and She-Hulk would be 4. So no. Sasquatch is the cheapest 10 power card in the game. If you play Mysterio on turn 2, you've basically played 3 cards, which brings Sasquatch down to 3, and you can play her on turn 3. So this is the first card in the game, without any shenanigans or funny business, just through your deck, that you can play on turn 3 as a 10 power card, which is extremely crucial and key for one of the synergies which we'll speak about in a minute, which is Scar. Scar wants to see 10 cost cards come out as quickly as possible, and yeah, Sasquatch is going to be your first step towards that with turn 3. Yeah, so really, really cool. As I said a minute ago, can get under locations like the Big House, and another pro, I sort of put this as a pro. Basically, they can't Shang-Chi everywhere. Yes, you can get out Sasquatch early, and yes, she is susceptible to Shang-Chi. But for example, if you have played her on turn 3, because you did play that Mysterio on turn 2, you've still got your turns 4, 5 and 6 where you can play absolutely cracked power. So yeah, they might be able to Shang-Chi it, but they've just spent more energy trying to kill Sasquatch than you spent playing her. So that's going to feel fine. I feel fine. Cons. Mockingbird and Sasquatch are both going to be super hot, especially right now. Like the week of launch, Sasquatch and Mockingbird are both going to be everywhere, which means that Mobius is going to be everywhere. Again, we'll talk about counters in a minute. But yeah, Mobius is going to be hot right now. So, to be honest, Sasquatch might have a bit of a rough launch week, but I think she'll be better when people put their Mobius away. Or maybe Mobius just gets permanently more commonly seen. Maybe. I said it was a sort of a pro as well. It's sort of a con as well. Obviously, very susceptible. Very susceptible to Shang-Chi. So you could get caught off guard with the early Shang-Chi. You could get caught off guard with a late Shang-Chi. Basically, always just consider Shang-Chi and think that you are, like, just assume that you're going to get Shang-Chi'd. I don't know about you. I don't really play 10 cost cards and not assume that I'm getting Shang-Chi'd, if that makes sense. I'm not sure it does. And then her final con, in my eyes, is that the cards that counter her are hard counters. Like Mobius is a hard counter for her. Yes, 610 isn't bad by any means, but the whole point of her is that you're hoping to play her out more cheaply. And if you do get countered with the Mobius, it's unlikely you'll be playing Sasquatch out because you'll probably be working on your other strategy, the rest of your strategy, and a full cost Sasquatch might not play into that. And then again, Shang-Chi is just a hard counter to her as well because she completely dies and explodes. So let's talk about a few of the other counters. Pretty much spoken at length about Shang-Chi and Mobius there, but a few other ones that you may not have considered. Sandman, potentially going to be pretty hot right now, with Bounce becoming stronger with Sasquatch, and not only that, we did recently have the buff to Wolfman as well. I was about to call him the Astounding Wolfman. That's a Robert Kirkman comic. Werewolf by Night. It's not even Wolfman, it's Werewolf by Night. Drewberry's gone, I'm trying to make a good impression, let's make loads of mistakes. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, Sandman. Not only if they ramp Sandman out is it going to be more difficult for you to set up Sasquatch, or actually just impossible. Well, not impossible, it will knock her down to 510. But if they happen to play Sandman on curve, and you're about to have like your epic final turn, which includes a heavily discounted Sasquatch, absolute ruiner. And the other counter that I've put in here is Annihilus, which might not make total sense at first. However, Clog is better than it's ever been with the recent additions like White Widow. And if you're playing a deck with Sasquatch and you're playing a lot of cards, which you will be because you're playing Sasquatch, it means that you're not going to have that much space. So you're going to be more susceptible, I said the word correctly that time, more susceptible to Clog. So watch out for the Annihiluses, watch out for the Hoods, the White Widows, etc. So yeah, that might be a bit of a hard one to work around. Now let's talk about some of the other key synergies and some decks that I've got for you guys. So we've spoken about it before. Mysterio is absolutely literally ridiculous. Like Mysterio on 2 into Sasquatch on 3 is going to be one of the hottest combos in the game. Like forget Sentry Annihilus. Sentry's been nerfed anyway. This is going to be absolutely explosively powerful, because not forgetting you've got the 4 power from Mysterio anyway. Super good. Scar, mentioned him earlier as well. This Sasquatch gives a new way to get Scar out even sooner, and so it's super good. Now we've got Mysterio in the deck, which works well with Sasquatch. Mockingbird is going to be a crazy synergy with Sasquatch. Not necessarily that they share a direct relationship together, but more so that a lot of the cards that they work with themselves or individually work well cohesively cross-spawning with each other. Again, I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm so sorry that I'm taking Drewberry's idea and ruining it. I just want to apologise. Anyway, yeah, she's going to be good. I mean, listen to this final turn. If you've played enough cards in the previous turn, or you have enough stuff down, like your Squirrel Girls and your Mysterios, you can easily fit in Sasquatch and Mockingbird and other stuff. If you Mysterio on turn 5, along with just 2 other things, Sasquatch costs 1, Mockingbird will almost certainly be 3. So you could do stuff like, what's the best 5 cost in the game? I don't know, Spider-Woman? Nah. And the other key synergy is Black Swan. Playing out Black Swan maybe on turn 4, dropping all of your free 1 costs on turn 5, and then dropping potentially a completely free Sasquatch on turn 6. Sasquatch is just going to feel so good. So here's some of the deck ideas I got for you. I got Sassy Patriot. So this is a Patriot deck, which does have pretty much all of the cards we've spoken about. Mysterio, it's got Mockingbird, obviously Sasquatch. And then other than that, it's just like a pretty standard Patriot deck with Patriot, Kazar, Blue Marvel. We got the Squirrel Girl in here for the Mockingbird. I've got Nico as another 1-drop. We have even got Black Swan as well, and I know that you guys are going to clock it. You're going to see Martyr there. Now Martyr, I actually think that Martyr is heavily underrated as a card. Just forget for a second the fact that she can lose you the game, because you certainly need to ignore that. The thing that I hear no one talking about is that she gets you priority on turn 1. Like, guaranteed she gets you priority on turn 1, pretty much. So if you, just as an aside from this actual video, just tip section, hot tips, burnt ends, no. If you have got a deck, or you're brewing a deck where you need priority, consider Martyr. Like Galactus decks, for example. I love Martyr and Galactus decks. Anyway, that's by the by. The reason I've got her in here is because you're going to be playing so much stuff, or you're going to have so much stuff down, that she's not going to be able to move anyway. And even if she can move, you just make sure she can't move to the location that you know you're already going to win. So she's incredible. And then even just your backup plan here is Ultron. So yeah, Sassy Patriot. I think Patriot's going to be really key with Sasquatch. Next up is Scar's the Limit. This is our Scar deck. We have got in here Kyra, because you're going to be playing 6-cost cards down, and in fact you're going to be getting that Sasquatch down early anyway. So make sure that she can't be killed by playing Kyra. The other weird stuff in here is Viper, which you can either use on your hood, or you can use it on one of your Mysterio illusions, or worst case scenario, if you need to use it on a squirrel, absolutely not the end of the world, guys. But it just allows you to make a little bit of space, or send something bad over. And I thought it just worked well with these cards. It made sense in this deck. And then the other cards we got in here is Crossbones. Come on, you're gonna have a winning location by turn 4. Scar hopefully coming down easier, and maybe I don't know about She-Hulk actually. She-Hulk and Sasquatch are sort of at odds with each other. One rewards you for not playing cards, the other rewards you for playing cards. So maybe something might not work, but I think having them both together in the deck, it could happen. I think the rest of the deck is pretty explanatory, self-explanatory. Let me know what you think in the comments. And finally, we got a bounce deck. I called it Quash Them because you bounce it. Because you quash, because Sasquatch, so like QUA. And it's bounce. It's like a pun. It's an attempt at a pun. Anyway, a pretty standard bounce deck with the likes of some of the better 1-cost cards that you want to keep replaying. So that includes Hood, Rocket Raccoon. I personally love Hawkeye. Iceman, absolutely mega cracked. And then your bouncers, your Beast, and your Falcon. And then your things that can go tall. So we've got Sasquatch. We've got Mockingbird in here again. We've got Hitmonkey, and we've also got Bishop as well. So yeah, some very interesting options for you there. Let me know what you think. So this is the moment, guys. Is Sasquatch a snap or a pass? I mean, it's been pretty obvious all video. In my eyes, she is a snap. Now, Drewberry stood by his snap or passes. If he said snap, he would buy it. I am in a position where I actually desperately want this card, but I just can't make it work with my Spotlight Cash plan. I don't know if you make a Spotlight Cash plan. I've got another video about Spotlight Cash planning. I make a image that you can view well, anywhere, but certainly it looks good on your phone, with empty boxes in, so you can write in how many keys you'll have after each week. So I'll leave the link to that in the description if you want to plan. But basically, guys, my plans are elsewhere. I cannot afford to get this card, unfortunately, even though I desperately want to. However, I would say she's amazing. I think she's really, really good, very strong, and you can definitely get her with confidence. So, thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much to Drewberry for basically letting me do this. I mean, he said that there's no copyright on it, obviously, and that he was just very gracious and said that I could do with the format what I please. I do hope that me having copied his format so distinctly is cool. I hope he's okay with that. But this, I didn't want to mess with the format too much. I know this is a type of video that the community at large really loves. Yeah, I enjoyed making it. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I know I'm absolutely fecal host in comparison to Drewberry. So yeah, be gentle on me, but also be harsh in a way. Be honest. If you can't be honest, be nice. No, that's a stupid way to end it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I've ruined it. Oh, I had one shot and I've ruined it.